The biggest change in Tarkov history just went live today. You can no longer drop items to your friends, whether it be barter items, keys, things of this nature. They will be deleted if you drop them. So there's no more helping your friends out when they're broke or giving them keys for quests. It'll be gone. It's made to combat RMT, which means reducing the number of cheaters in the game by not letting them be able to sell items to other players peer to peer. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I did a lot of testing on my stream. I'm going to show you guys every item that you cannot drop, as well as all the testing that I found. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit the sub button. Let's jump into it. They changed the game in a drastic way that was not in the patch notes. In the past, you could bring items in a raid and drop them to your friends, whether it be a key or like a LEDX or maybe even like a Bitcoin to give them some money. That has been removed. You cannot do that anymore. If you try and drop like a key in raid, like let's say for example red keycard, you want to drop it, it'll give you a warning that if you try and drop it, it will be lost permanently. You cannot get this back. So if I hit yes, my red keycard is gone. It's not on the ground. It's not like in my thing. It's literally gone. Same thing like my entire lab set. If I drop it on the ground, whether it be access cards, they're gone. You cannot trade those anymore. Labs key set, the entire thing. It'll say everything that's gone. It'll all be gone. Pretty much, they're trying to stop RMT, so every item that's like a barter item seems to be restricted. Things that are consumables like grenades aren't really restricted. Things like sugar don't seem to be restricted. Moonshine seems totally fine. Guns, armor, helmet, all this stuff is totally fine, but then when you get to barter items, right? So we're talking like power supply, pressure gauge, thermometer, all these things, they'll be lost. So if you try and drop a bag full of this stuff, you'll lose literally everything. You can drop ammo itself, but not ammo cases. You lose all the ammo in the case as well. Things like food, meds, those are totally fine. You can drop those. But things like stims, actually, you can only drop one of each. If I try and drop 1 grain stim, no problem. 2 grain stims, gang gets mad at me. 1 Meldonin, fine. 2 Meldonin, gang gets mad at me. Same thing with money. I can't drop a lot of money. I can drop 20k max, right? I can drop 20k right here. If I try and drop even 1 ruble after that, it won't let me. They track that now, so I can't do that anymore. Same thing, dog tag, not found in raid, it'll be dropped. So pretty much any item that's like a barter good that is not found in raid, so that means you brought it back in, you cannot drop it in raid. It will be lost. If you find an item in raid, like a LEDX, and you pick it up, and then you want to drop it in the same raid you found it, you can do that. If it's found in raid still, you can drop it, no problem. But if it's not found in raid, it'll delete it. So if I try and drop my backpack, like quick drop, it won't let me. The game will lock me out of doing it because it says like it'll be lost. We tried this with keys as well. I had a couple of viewers from my chat put keys in their backpack, and then we shot them. And when we did that, the key was gone. There was no key in their backpack. The only items that don't seem to be locked that are barter goods are things like gold chains, tool sets, even things like quest items, pretty much. Things that you would need to bring into raid for quests. So gold chains are for chumming. Rollers you can bring in for bullshit. There's also the tool sets for farming part 1, right? Those all come in together. Things like sick cases, you can't even insure these anymore. Like, if you take all the keys out and try and drop it, it still won't work. Same thing with injector case. It's all gone. Melees, Taiga will be gone. Red Rebel, gone. Armbands, those are gone. You can't drop them. Maybe the basic ones you can, but these you can't. Markers and things like Wi-Fi cameras, these do work because they're not barter items. They are like special equipment. I don't know if impact grenades are affected. They seem to be fine as well. So it seems like any gear that you would use, like any loose ammo, mags, gear, guns, these are all fine because you need these to fight, and they can't restrict that because they can't tell you what to bring into raid, really, right? But if you try and drop a backpack like this, you're going to lose everything in here. You drop it, boom. I tried taking items out of my backpack as well and putting them into the, like putting the backpack on the ground and putting items in there, and they still got deleted. Like, I can't, like, do it. It won't let me. It'll say can't be transferred. I use the F4 as well because the F4 has been used in the past to bypass any limits. And you used to be able to, like, bypass the limit of, like, 3 LEDXs with an F4 Terminator. Same thing with, they banned weapons cases from backpacks a while back, and the F4 could get around that. So I want to see if you can do that again here, which you cannot. So, yeah, that's, like, actually the biggest change that they've done to this game to combat RMT. They had limits a while back, but literally items cannot be rock and raid. You cannot use a key for a quest and then give it to your friend. It is gone if you drop it. You have to key the room for your friend. You have to find a different way to get a key. I don't know if it's good for the game. It's there to combat RMT, which is the trading of in-game items for real-world money, and that's like why cheaters exist. In theory, is because they want to make money from the game doing that. So this is like the biggest step taken to combat them we've ever seen. I honestly don't know if it's good for the game. What do you guys think? Comment down below. I'm going to get a full list of every single item in the game that you cannot drop. I'm going to go through and test literally every single barter item in the game, and I'll make a list, and I'll like put it in, I guess, like a paste bin, and I'll put it in like a pinned comment or something like that, because I don't want to like write down every single one on a screen. I'll like make a paste bin. You can like just control F for the item. But yeah, that is like actually crazy. Yeah. Okay, so speaking about this whole change, this is a post made by Applezer, who is the community manager for Battlestategames. They made a post, I'll link this in the description, talking about how they made the change to dropping items without found in raid status to combat RMT, which is what I was talking about earlier. Pretty much when you try and drop it, it'll delete the item, and they have all the conditions here that'll show you what actually happens or when this applies. And they said that they blocked things like money, barter items with some permissions they added. They blocked keys and keycards, containers, certain armbands, so I'm guessing only like the super high quest ones. They blocked info items, so that would be like diaries, slim diaries, flash drives, and any melee weapons are also banned as well. So these are all banned. So they said the only things that they allow to bring in raid with some limit are 20,000 rubles, the golden neck chains, the blue gunpowder, which you need to plant for therapist, 2 tool sets. You can bring in rollers, only one of each, 1 paracord, 1 silicon tube, and you can bring in 1 injector's case. Which I guess maybe you can drop 1 injector case, I guess. That's interesting. But yeah, that is interesting. You can drop 20k rubles to a homie. So if you like drop 20k for a card extract that still exists, you can actually drop money for up to 4 friends technically, right? If they all have neutral Scav karma. But yeah, that is interesting to say the least. That is actually just a massive change. I don't know what silicon tube you can do. I don't know why they've let that one stay in there. I don't know what the purpose of that one is. It's not for any quests. Oh, injectors, 1 each. You're right. Sorry, it's not injector case. It's 1 of each injector. You're totally right. My fault. I read that wrong. Thank you for pointing that out. I don't think you can bring in euros or dollars anymore because they're not used in raid. That is crazy. I wonder. Wow. I don't know. It's weird. And then the last thing that I mentioned as well, if you want to see if things can actually be brought into raid, things that can't be insured already are like food and meds and consumables. So like food, meds, grenades, these things can't be insured. Ammo can't be insured, right? But if you go to any barter item and see if you can insure it, if you cannot insure the barter item itself, you cannot drop it in raid. So notice how you can't insure keys anymore. I can't insure my sick case. I can't insure my melee or like intel, any of this stuff. If I can't insure it, I cannot bring it into raid and drop it. Again, if you have found in raid status on the item, if you find it in a raid and you have it in that same raid and you drop it to your friend, that is totally fine. Nothing will happen at all. I can drop, moonshine, sugar, no problem at all if I bring it back into a raid. But again, I cannot bring in items that I found in a raid into a new raid because they will lose find in raid status, and then if I drop them, I will lose all those items. They will be gone, they disappear, and they are gone. There's the changes, guys. Let me know what you think about them in the comments down below. I'm curious to see what you think. If you enjoyed the video, hit that sub button. We have a lot of things coming in the future. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.